Hello, my lovelies. So, today we are going to do yoga for healing grief and sadness. Most of us have experienced a lot lately, especially with the shift, and you may be sad about the loss of a loved one, or perhaps the loss of a job, or a particular situation, just maybe the way things are changing or causing you a little grief and sadness. And so today I'm going to show you a few yoga poses that will get you started, okay? I would like to take the time to dedicate today's practice to my cousin Marquita. She passed away recently, and so she inspired this grief set. And so the purple is her color, and I'm wearing it, and we're going to do it, okay? All right. And my co-yogi, Athena, who seems to be present everywhere. All right. So first, go ahead and come into a comfortable seated position on your mat. Whatever feels good for you. If you want to crisscross applesauce, if you want to sit with your legs out to the side, whatever is most comfortable. Any discomfort on the hips, feel free to take a blanket or a bolster and tuck it underneath your bottom, okay? I will say that in this moment, if you do have any issues with your knees, feel free to double fold your mat or to also use a blanket for any of the kneeling poses, okay? Just about everything we do today is going to be on the floor, all right? So from here, let's start where we always start, our breath. So go ahead and allow yourself to take a deep breath in, inhaling through the nose, allowing the air to flow down the throat, opening into the rib cage, and expanding the belly. Take a moment to pause before slowly reversing the flow, exhaling, pulling the navel to the spinal cord, allowing the air to come up through the chest and back out through the nose. Continue to repeat that process, taking deeper breaths with each inhale and exhaling fully. If you have any tension in your neck and shoulders, remember to keep the shoulders away from the ears and relax the jaw as you breathe. For some of you, myself included for me, closing your eyes during this practice will be monumental for allowing you to process any grief, because you're allowed to reflect inward. When dealing with grief, it's very personal, and it's something that we must do for ourselves. So take all the time you need in any of these poses, and remember, the key to everything when processing grief is to allow for deep belly breathing. Take a good deep breath in. And as you exhale, go ahead and extend the legs out directly in front of you with the toes pointing forward. If you feel a little tension on the hamstrings, it's okay to allow for a little bend. From here, I want you to breathe up, inhaling the arms overhead, extending the spine. And as you exhale, slowly fold forward vertebrae by vertebrae, grabbing the outside of the feet or the ankles, or maybe the shins and the knees if that's what's comfortable for you. And elongate the back, decompressing the spine. When we grieve, oftentimes we want to curl up into a little ball. All we want to do is fold forward and hug ourselves. It's like giving the inner child a tight squeeze. And that's what we're doing here. So for those of you maybe with your hands behind your knees, you can tuck yourself in and allow yourself to Give yourself a hug and say that it's okay to be here for just this moment. Take a deep breath in here. And then exhale. And on your next inhale, go ahead and slowly come back up to a seated position. Good. Now we're going to bring some movement into the spine. And as you inhale, bring the right arm up and overhead, planting the left hand down next to the hips. And as you exhale, bending over to the left side. As you inhale, bring the left arm up, planting the right arm, and then exhaling into the other side. And we're going to continue this process back and forth, inhaling up, exhaling over. Remember to follow your own breath, keeping active toes pointed towards the ceiling. Just allowing ourselves to loosen up the spine and stay in tune with the breath. Take a deep inhale, bring both arms up overhead. As you exhale, bring the hands next to you on the hips. Go ahead and allow your right foot to come next to your left knee. Bring the chest onto the knees, keeping the front toes engaged upwards. And this time when you inhale, I want you to bring your right arm up and behind you. And as you exhale, wrap the left arm around the right knee for a side twist. Each time you inhale, pushing up on that back arm to elongate the spine. And as you exhale, deepening into the twist. Be careful not to overextend yourself. If you feel any pinching or sharp pains, that is your body's signal that you've gone a bit too far, okay? If this stretch is comfortable for you and you would like to go a little deeper, feel free to bring the foot on the other side of the knee, and you can stretch from here, or you can also bring the arm to the outside, like so. It's yogi's choice. Take a deep inhale in, and as you exhale, release the pose. Shake out the back arm and the leg, and let's switch to the other side. So bring the left foot next to the right knee, inhaling the left arm up and overhead behind you, and then exhaling, wrapping that left arm around the right arm around the left knee. The thing about yoga and grief is that you get to do it your own way. So remember that your practice is yours. Wherever you feel comfortable, be it here or maybe here, it is all your bag. Go ahead and take that deep belly breath in, and then begin to exhale back into staff pose, bringing the hands next to the hips. Now stay here for just a moment and anchor back into that breath. And this time as you exhale, go ahead and press the hands down into the mat, grounding out any sadness that you may feel, any grief. Continuing to breathe, and then release the pose. go ahead and swing that right foot out to the side. Bring the left foot in, press to the right thigh. And here we're gonna start to open up the hips. As you recall me, if you followed my last video, we store grief and sorrow within our hips and worry. So we're gonna open those up during this practice. From here, I want you to go ahead and inhale the arms up overhead. And then exhale, folding the hands forward. Again, you may stay here. For some of you that like to go all the way down, go all the way down. If this gets to be too much, you can bring the foot out just a little maybe if you'd like. But however it feels good to you, okay? Take a deep breath in, filling the belly. Exhale, bringing the navel to the spinal cord. As you inhale this time, bring the arms up and switch sides. Bring the left foot out and the right foot in. So from here, inhaling those arms up overhead and then exhaling into your forward fold. Remember to keep the back straight and the shoulders away from the ears. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. And on your next inhale, go ahead and walk the hands back up. Now, for those of you who do not have room for this next pose, feel free to modify in your own way. We are going to do legs up the wall pose. Now, this pose is not only good for grief, it is also good for anxiety. So, what you'll want to do is, I actually have a charger here I need to get rid of. You're gonna inch yourself as close as you can to the wall. So you may find yourself getting kind of close, and slowly walk the feet up the wall as you inch onto the back. And then use your hands and your hips to slide until your bottom is pressed firmly against the wall with your back, shoulders, and head lying on the floor. And for the moment, keep the feet together, toes pointing towards the head. Open the arms at your side. You can either face the palms up to receive energy, or if you're feeling a little unstable, palms facing down, just to ground the energy out. From here, we're opening up the heart space, because grief can close off the heart if we let it. So two areas, two chakras that we're going to focus on today are going to be your heart chakra and your throat chakra. Those are two things that we tend to block or just sometimes allow to dull during grief. We're not sure how to express ourselves, or if it's okay to love. We have the fear of loss. And so we subconsciously close those things off. All right? I want you to take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, begin to open the legs. Okay? Allowing for the hips to come open and releasing some of that grief. So as you exhale, bring the tailbone down into the floor. Scoop the belly button to the spinal cord and breathe out all of the things that drain the joy from your life. Continue to take the deep breaths in and exhaling out sadness. Go ahead and take a deep breath in, bringing the feet together. And as you exhale, press the toes against the wall and slide back just a few inches using your hips and your shoulders back away from the wall. So you're making a 90-degree angle from the wall here. Okay. This time as you inhale, go ahead and bring the feet up and grab the toes or the outsides of the feet and go into happy baby. So keeping the knees a little bit further than the hip, the ankles stacked over the knees. You can gently rock from side to side, massaging the spine. And from here, when we inhale, we're wanting to inhale all the happiness that an innocent child would have. This is why it's called happy baby. So making sure you're keeping the shoulders pulled away from the ears and the sides of the mouth pulled towards the ears. And just smile. Go ahead and inhale yourself still to center. And as you exhale, tuck the toes and bring the knees together, drawing the head up. And allow yourself to breathe deep for just a moment before releasing the feet to the floor, coming onto your side. Right. From here, we're going to go into tabletop position. We're going to do a few cat-cows. So bringing the feet out behind the knees, stacking the knees directly under the hips and the wrists under the shoulders with a straight back. As you begin to inhale, drop the belly, bring the tailbone up, and look up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, drop the head, round out the back, and tuck the tailbone. We're going to repeat that 3 times. Coming back into an even tabletop, we're going to curl the toes under, take a deep breath in, go ahead and open the knees about mat width apart, bring the 2 big toes together and sink back into child's pose, allowing the forehead to drop. You can extend the arms out in front of you, or if this is stressful for your shoulders, feel free to bring the arms out behind you. The idea here is to connect the third eye with the floor. So if you're unable to reach down, you can always stack your fists here. The idea is bringing the ground to you. Okay? If you do have blocks, feel free to use them. Now, anytime during the practice, you are welcome to come back to child's pose if you need to. Remember, it's your practice and it's your grief. Both will be processed by you because you know what's best for you. So go ahead and bring the toes behind the knees, pushing up into push-up position, into plank pose. From here, I want you to take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, go ahead and bring the right knee forward, turning the foot out sideways, keeping the arms planted directly in front of you, and extending the right leg behind you into pigeon pose. So for some of you, your pigeon may be here. For some of you, your pigeon may come out a little more, okay? The idea is to sink into the hips, keeping them square to the front of the mat and pushing the heart through the front of the arms. And just breathe here a moment. Now, if this is too much for you in this pose, feel free to modify by coming down onto one knee and keeping the knee pressed directly in front of you, okay? I do realize that that may be a much for some people who are in their first tries of yoga, but your body is doing exactly what it's designed to do, which is beautiful, amazing things. Okay. From here, I want you to take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, curl that back toe and stretch the right foot back. And then inhaling, bring the left leg forward this time, okay? So again, remember you can keep your knee facing forward if you like. Make sure to keep the shoulders pulled away from the ears and the head up. Stretching deep into the back. Take a deep breath in, placing the hands firmly in front, curling that back foot, the toes on the back foot behind you. And as you exhale, stepping that other foot back into plank. Stay here for just one breath, so take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, tilt the hips and extend the back forward into downward facing dog. From here, gently shake the head yes and no. And just stay here a moment. Remember to take deep, full breaths in. As you exhale, drawing that navel up into the spine, keeping active knees and arms. I want you to take a full breath into the belly, and as you exhale, lower the knees into the floor. Okay, so now we're in tabletop position. For this next pose, it may be helpful for you to turn your tabletop sideways, okay? So from here, we're going to go into frog pose. For some people, it's easy to do this off the mat because the knees slide better. But for those of you that have issues with your knees, like for me, my knee joints can pop a lot. So it's easier for me to use the mat. If it is a little difficult, again, you can fold your mat over and have double padding. So from here, making sure you're keeping the knees in alignment with the hips. Go ahead and allow your legs to come outside. Now your frog may end here, which is fine. This is perfectly fine, okay? And this may be your frog pose. For those of you that would like to go a little deeper, again, continue to walk the legs out, making sure the knees are in alignment with the hips. You turn those back feet out to the side, and you can sink down. Again, if you're able to engage your pose a little more, bring the head to the floor, or remember, you can always use your fists or a block and bring the floor to you. Now the key to frog pose is deep belly breathing. So again, we're going to take that deep breath in, inhaling through the nose, allowing the air to expand through the rib cage and fill the belly, and then reversing the flow as you exhale. Try each time with each breath to hold your inhale just a little longer before you begin to exhale, okay? If you like a little dynamic movement, you can rock back and forth. For me, I'm a mover, so I like to sink in. So you can raise the tailbone just a little and allow your frog to have some rivet movement. So on your next inhale, fill the belly, and then as you exhale, slowly press the palms up and bring the knees together. Okay? From here, we're going to sink back onto our feet, placing the hands in front of us in hero's pose. Again, being mindful of the breath, taking deep breaths in and exhaling. There's a point in every hero's journey that they pause to reflect. So here's your moment of stillness to pause and reflect. Everything that brings you grief can only grieve you because at some point it brought you joy. Find the part that brought you joy and happiness and figure out how you can bring that to other areas of your life as you sit here and quietly reflect. Now at any point in this pose, if you get uncomfortable, feel free to return to a seated lotus pose, a seated position. It is perfectly fine. Heroes all repass in a different way. Now from here, those of you in a seated crisscross position, a lotus pose, come back to your knees. And I want you to put your hands at the front of your knees and take a deep breath in, bring yourself to rise. Go ahead and bring the knees out about hip width apart, squaring the hips with the front of the mat, keeping the knees in alignment with the hips. As you take a deep breath in, I would like for you to put your hands on your back pockets. So like go into your honey child mode, okay? And I want you to take a deep breath in and slowly lean the head back. Pushing the heart forward through the chest. And for some of you, this is your camel. I have a feeling that my camel has arrived. Here she is. For those of you that require a deeper stretch or would just like to try a deeper stretch, go ahead and tuck those back toes up and allow one hand at a time to gently come back and grab the ankles. Keeping the back arched and straight, keeping the hips stacked over the knees and bending backwards. Go ahead and take a deep breath in, coming back up. And then go ahead and allow yourself to sink back as you exhale. Again, your camel may be here, or your camel may be here with the toes pressed flat against the mat. Either or is acceptable. It can be a one hump camel or a two hump camel, whatever feels good. Just be careful not to overextend the back and not to deepen your back bend any more than feels comfortable to your spine, okay? So go ahead and inhale, bring yourself back up. And as you take a deep breath here, exhaling out, breathe in, and then exhale, extending for the last camel. Remembering to keep the hips stacked over the knees. And then inhale the body up. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips, bring the toes together and the knees mat width apart, and sink back into child's pose. For those of you that can, extend the arms forward, elongating the spine. For those of you where you find discomfort in the shoulders, feel free to return to modified child's pose. You can be a big baby however you would like. From here, take a deep breath in, coming up onto all fours, and then as you exhale, coming to a seated position before lying flat on your back. From here, we are going to go into the final pose of the evening, the most important pose in any grief yoga session, which is Savasana. So go ahead and bring the arms out to the side and allow the feet to fall to the side and gently allow the eyes to close. Bring the shoulder blades together and begin to slowly allow your body to sink into the mat. So relax your eyes, relax your tongue, your teeth. Relax the shoulders, the back and the hips. Just allow the earth underneath you to support you and comfort you. Go ahead and relax the knees and the thighs. Maybe giving the toes a little wiggle to make sure you've got those relaxed. And just allow yourself to feel the support of the earth beneath you, knowing that no matter what you encounter, you are fully supported and held. As you bring your focus back to the breath, my cat thinks I have treats. As you bring your focus back to your breath, just allow yourself to sit with your thoughts. As each thought comes in, just let it come in, observe, and then give it permission to go. As you observe each thought, take notice of the emotion that comes with it. Again, remember that sadness and grief usually come from loss. Loss of something that once brought you joy and happiness. So take note of that joy and that happiness. other places that you may find it off the mat, or perhaps on the mat for some of you. Now I will allow you to feel free to guide yourself into your own thoughts in Savasana. So we will have a 4-minute Savasana in complete silence. So continue to keep your eyes closed, just allowing yourself to rest. I will be your timekeeper. As you slowly bring awareness back to the body, begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Rotate the wrists and the ankles. Keeping the eyes closed, then turn over onto your right side, bending the knees. Bring the right arm under head. Whenever you're ready, keeping the eyes closed, allow your left hand to press down into the ground, pushing yourself up into a seated position. Go ahead and allow the hands to rest in the lap or on the knees. As you begin to peek the eyes open just part way at the bottom, and then opening them a little more, and then a little more, until you have your eyes completely open. I hope you enjoyed this practice, and I hope that you can go forth and find the joy in the sadness that you've experienced. Sat Nam.